All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 3:30 p.m. Do I have, roll call.
I'm there.
Trustee Wigan.
Here.
Ashley Anderson.
Trustee Ursulou. Trustee Murphy.
Yes. Here.
Trustee Pearson.
Yes.
Trustee Anderson. Trustee Crane.
Here.
Dr. Smith.
Here.
All right, do I have the adoption of the agenda? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Moved by Trustee Crane, seconded by Trustee Murphy. Roll call vote.
Trustee Wigan.
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou. Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Pearson.
Yes.
Trustee Anderson. Trustee Crane.
Yes.
All right, number 3, community input on closed session items. Okay, great. So no community input on closed session items, so we will move now to closed session. The items are A, conference with real property negotiator, B, student discipline, C, public employee performance evaluation, D, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, employment, E, conference with labor negotiator. All right, we will return to open session at 6 p.m. I call to order the meeting at 6 o'clock. Opening ceremonies, moment of reflection and pledge of allegiance, led by Devoni Bustos.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do I have adoption of minutes from December 17th, 2027?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Crane, seconded by Trustee Ursulou. Roll call vote.
Trustee Wigan.
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Pearson.
Yes.
Trustee Anderson.
Yes.
Trustee Crane.
Yes.
All right, the vote was 6-0, excuse me. The motion carries. Now, let's move on to item 10, recognition of our Fall Athletic Sports Championship. Dr. Torres?
Yes, I'd like to welcome up Dr. Mike Shaka, who's going to introduce our teams and our principals.
Thank you, President Wigan, members of the board, Dr. Smith, Executive Cabinet, parents, and most importantly, all the students that are with us tonight. Welcome. There are some things in this world that we never get tired of, and recognizing our fall sports CIF champions is one of them. So at this point, I'd like to bring up our principal of Corona Del Mar High School, the beloved Dr. Jake Haley.
It's great to be up here. Good evening, President Wigand, Dr. Smith, members of the board, executive cabinet, and distinguished guests. As you heard Mr. Shaka say, it is a pleasure to recognize students. Not only these are fantastic athletes, but they really put the student and student athletes. Just kind of talking to our girls golf team, who you're going to hear from first. We're guessing, and this is just a guesstimate, I didn't do the math of it. We've got 2 graduating, but we think their GPA is somewhere around a 4.23 combined for all of them. Of the 7 members, we believe 5 are bilingual, and so they're really, really an impressive group. This is the first girls golf CIF championship for our school, and I was under the direction of our wonderful coach, Mr. Brian Middleton. Brian, come on up and let's introduce our team.
Thank you for having us this evening. I want to thank Newport-Mesa Unified School District, CDM, our wonderful principal, and I'm going to introduce Adriana Bezrukov. Annika Shori. Bailey Kuo. Ilana Gaber. Jishwan Lee. Ella Park, Sky Park, and Sophie Martin. It was an incredible past season. We have a very tough Sunset League to get through, but it prepared us for the playoffs. We were able to get into CIF Southern Section Division IV championships. We took our time. We went to the course the weekend before the championships and played the 18 holes, learned from it, took notes as a team. And when we showed up that day, it was a freezing morning for all the teams to warm up. But we had our notes. We were ready to go. And throughout the day with the new CIF app, you get to track your team as you play. And I didn't want to look at it for a while, so about the first 4 or 5 holes, and then the Fountain Valley coach found me. He's like, "You guys are absolutely killing it." I was like, ugh, I peaked, and we were ahead by 14 strokes at that point. As the day progressed, though, right, as golf, it whittled down, and it really came down to the last 3 or 4 holes, and you're able to talk to the team in between after they finish on a hole and before they tee off. And so I made sure to visit each girl individually and make sure that we just finished physically strong and mentally strong. And this is definitely a very strong mental group, but physically they grinded through it and were able to pull it off and win the first CIF championship in girls golf for CDM school history. So well done, ladies.
Coach there? No. I hope so. Maybe. We'll see. No. The next sport from the fall that we get to introduce, team sport, but you also can qualify individually, and it's been really, really fun if you've been following the Daily Pilot to watch kind of the 4 years of this athlete. Started off as a football player for his freshman and sophomore year, converted over to cross country, and became absolutely tenacious in the sport. One of the first student athletes that I met on campus 3 years ago when I arrived, somebody who I immediately just fell in love with and was drawn to in his leadership capacity. And the championship was at Mount San Antonio College, and there's a hill there that is just a killer hill to kind of watch. And they have new technology now where you get to kind of follow the runners as they're going around the racetrack. And going up the hill, Max Douglas, and Max, come on out. You bet. Going up the hill, Max just decided to turn it on, and it was so fun to watch and to kind of see him just pull away. And I know Trustee Crane was there. I was there to kind of root him on as well. Just a super fun day for us. And Max didn't just win. Oh, hey. Are you getting a track named after you? You show up when you want, huh? Yeah, I know. So a better storyteller than me is our fabulous coach of many decades, Mr. Bill Sumner. Thanks for making it, Bill. Better late than never. Here you go. You get the floor.
Decades, 4 decades. I've been at Pro Del Mar for 4 decades. And I got to tell you, every time I walk in here, I'm just overwhelmed because I know what you guys do. And the reason I know what you guys do, because I was good friends with Karen, and I'm good friends with Carol. I probably shouldn't tell you who my good friends are because the others probably don't care, right? But I know what you guys do, so it humbles me. But we're here to talk about Max. I know, look at curly hair, good-looking kid. Looks like everything's okay. Max is one of those guys who walks into the program just like anybody else. I got him from football. Just like anybody else. Coach, tell me what you want me to do. I'll do 100%. I'll do whatever it takes, 110%. So like with him and so many other kids, I said, you don't know what 100% is. Don't start offering 110 because bodies don't have that. We're using these bodies. People say, oh, I'll do 110%. It doesn't work. That's where people get hurt. That's where things don't happen. That's where people don't achieve what they want to achieve. So I said, well, let's back up to 100. And if you really want to do it, I'll help you do it. I hear this 10 times a week, okay? Very few people, I'd say 95% of the people that I've worked with, and I've probably worked with 10,000 people, don't even know what it is, okay? They think they know what it is, and they're telling you they're going to give it to you. But all of you guys, you've worked with people, you know, oh, I'll give you 100%, and then you go, is that guy coming today? You know, so you never know. But with Max, I kind of started seeing that he was one of those guys. Now, I'm going to hurt his feelings right now, but I'll win him back over, don't worry. I'll buy him food. He loves food. He doesn't know what 100% is yet. But the fact that he's willing to learn it, and he works at it every day to learn it, I give him, he probably doesn't realize this. He probably doesn't realize it now. How many hours a day do you work out?
2 hours.
Yeah, at least 2 hours. It started out at about 1 hour. And I keep adding 15 minutes of this, 15 minutes of that. And he's really learning really fast. And it's been incredible to work with him. I've only had him for 2 years. It's going to be 2 years. He tells me a year and a half. It's going to be 2 years. He did 2 cross-country seasons and 2 track seasons. And this will be his 3rd track season, right? Okay, so it's going to be 2 years next month. But here's the deal. He's come so far. And he is going to get to 100% because that's all he does is strive for that 100%. He wants it. And when you get a kid like that, you just say, well, my job is if it's 6 o'clock in the morning, my job is to be there to help him get 100%. I know what 100% is. Can't do it. I'm good for about 30% per day. That's all I got left. Sorry. That's all I got left. But he's one of those guys. He's the league champ in the Sunset League, okay, after only 2 years of running. And these guys have been running their whole life. He's the CIF champ. We at Corona Del Mar High School, I've been here 41 years, never had a CIF champ in cross country. He's the first one. So we went to the U.S. regionals, and so I said to Max, I go, what do you want to do? And it's kind of like a movie in my brain. So I said, here's what you got to do. Here's what's going to happen. When you've seen, 3,000 cross-country meets, you kind of know what it's going to do, no matter what. They're all new kids, but they kind of look the same. It's going to do the same thing. So I told Max what was going to happen. This is where the story goes back to you. So I said, here's what's going to happen. You're going to have to be careful. These guys are very good. They're the best, 40 of the best runners in the world, in the United States, okay? All come to compete. So Max I said, when you get to the top of the hill, I said, I need you to pick up the pace, but he's a good hill runner, so you go up the hill, when you get to the top, then you can pick up the pace. Don't do anything before that. Man, I thought somebody kicked him or something or shot him. He took off. That's what you were talking about. He just took off. And I go, oh my God, I hope he can make it to the finish line. He still has 2 miles left. So anyway, make a long story short, it's too late for that. He made it to the national finals, okay? 2 months ago, they didn't know who he was. Today, Max is a rock star. And he got there fast. He is now, he's getting calls. He's already been to some of them. West Point, UCLA, Colorado, Georgetown, Notre Dame. He's already visited most of these schools. Duke just called. He's getting calls from all over the country, okay? He's like a rock star. How many followers you have now? I think he's got like 200,000 followers now. And I'm not making this up. 2 months ago, they didn't know who he was. Curly redhead kid runs for CDM. I said, he's not a redhead. He goes, he looks like a redhead. I said, it's not a redhead. He's got the freckles, though. He's not a redhead. So that's Max the athlete. Here's Max the person, okay? He's a 100% guy. When I said 100%, this guy wants 100%. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to do everything I can to get it for him, but I'm running out of time. I only got 5 months left with you, and I'm done with you. Send him to college. He's a great role model. I got kids coming to me now. We haven't had this for years. Okay, what is Max doing? How did Max do that? How do I do this? How did Max do that? Am I taking too much time? Okay, I got to go fast. Okay, he's a great. His GPA is great. He makes great. He makes the rest of us better. Why don't we just end it there because that's what he does.
8 steps. Keep going, keep going, keep going, and we're good.
Like in a movie. Cut.
And action. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I can
Congratulations, Cornell Mar CIF champions. We also have CIF champions from Newport Harbor High School. So at this time, I'm going to introduce the principal of Newport Harbor High School, Dr. Sean Bolton, who is also beloved.
Trustee Weigand, members of the board, Dr. Smith, executive cabinet, and distinguished guests, thank you for honoring our boys water polo team. This is the 15th championship in school history for the boys. It's 23rd if you count the girls' championships as well. But this year, it's truly a Newport-Mesa championship because Estancia, Costa Mesa, and Corona Del Mar High School have allowed us to use their pools while our pool is down being renovated. And thank you for redoing our pool. It's quite a project. It's been an extensive year, just given the fact that we have to travel to other schools to practice. But again, thank you to our sister schools in the district for opening up their space and allowing us to practice. So this is a Newport-Mesa championship. We went 33-1. We beat everybody up and down the state. We played in several state tournaments, San Diego, Northern California. And we lost the last game, but the regional championships aren't, we don't consider them the top tier championship. And I know that sounds a little water polo snobby, Newport Harbor snobby, but everybody wants the CIF Southern Section Championship. There's 565 member schools in the section. It's what we covet. It's the banner that we hang in the gym. So we won that 10-9 against Harvard Westlake in an absolute thriller. Jay Sarah, thank you. Wrong school. Same private school. Watching him cry at the end was just as wonderful. But we beat Jay Sarah in a 10-9 thriller, and I couldn't be prouder of Ross Sinclair, who's also a teacher on campus, our coaches, our players. They exemplify everything that we're about at Newport Harbor. So Ross Sinclair is here to introduce some of the highlights of the year and also some members of the team.
All right, I'm going to call these boys up here because they're getting antsy back there. Fletcher Appledorn, come on up. Declan Bartlett. Cash Borgreave. Simon Burtnick. Riley Sarita. Connor Clarity. Dash D'Ambrosia. Luke Harris. Weston Hartel. Dylan Hunt. Tyler Jameson. Kai Kaneko. Leon Kim. James Mulvey, Mason Netzer, Connor Ohl, Hudson Parks, Carter Pence, Crusoe Polanzani, Marco Rizoff, Santino Rossi, Shane Santoni, Jeff Slutsky, Luca Vanderwood, and John Whitelake. All right, we got an army up here, and I can't see the board here, but I just want to thank everybody. I want to reiterate what Principal Bolton said. It truly is a Newport-Mesa CIF championship. The administration at Costa Mesa, athletic department, at Costa Mesa, Estancia, and CDM, like forever grateful. This year's, we dubbed ourselves the Road Warriors because we've been on the road all season long. It's been a grind. The pool at Newport Harbor looks on its way to being amazing with the cement being poured in today. But truly, like, these guys embody everything about grit, hard work. Sean mentioned it. We won everything, every major tournament, won CIF. We won the one where there's a big pool party at the end, which is the one that matters. But again, they're representatives of this community, this school, this district. And again, it really is a Newport-Mesa CIF championship. And I truly believe that. And I'll never forget this year. the early mornings, late nights at other pools, to go back in and practice early morning at another pool. So just want to thank everybody for everything they've done and continue to do for this school and this community. We're extremely proud and very fortunate to be a part of it. So thank you. Two rows, fellas. Come on up. Declan, come on. Let's go.
Literally my best friend since second grade plays water polo, and I don't know. Did you go to Estancia?
Over here. I'll give them a couple minutes as well. You'll have your moment. Give me a moment. Thank you. Okay, over here. Everyone look at this one. Okay,
But I think
over
it's
here.
really entertaining.
Oh, wait.
It's like water or something.
Still here? All right.
Congratulations, all our fall sports winners. That's really impressive, and we have such a great district. Now we're moving on to item 11, student board member reports. Wait for a couple minutes for everyone to find their way.
You mean not everyone was here to see us and learn all about the district policy? That was a buzzkill. All right, we're going to move on to the student board, the illustrious student board members. We have two here tonight. They're going to give us their updates on their questions of the month, which was number one, what motivates you and your classmates to strive for success? And then two, how can teachers help motivate you, and what decreases your motivation as students? So really trying to find out for the average student what motivates you, and then what dismotivates you to engage in your coursework and excel. So I guess first we'll hear from Brianna Garcia from Newport Harbor.
Hello and good evening, Superintendent Smith, President Wiggin, and esteemed board members. For this week's topic, I wanted to get a large range of answers, so I often asked people around my classes about what they thought about the question. A majority of my peers mentioned that they are motivated to get good grades and stay on top of their work because of college. Others mentioned that keeping their grades up throughout the entire school year also makes finals week less stressful. Teachers also play a big role in keeping us students motivated. Some ways they do this may be by providing students with office hours where they can come by for help, having opportunities for extra credit, and doing fun review days in class before big tests. Some things that students have said decrease our motivation have been when teachers do daily quizzes or when homework feels like it is starting to get unmanageable. Putting off homework and procrastination can also greatly decrease students' motivation. In conclusion, students are often self-motivated in order to keep up with their work and prevent themselves from getting too stressed. As for two highlights on our campus, the first couple of weeks back have been filled with so many fun activities, and it is always hard to just choose two. But one exciting event we have this week is our formal on Thursday night that is hosted at Knott's Berry Farm. This is always a fun time for students and staff, as Knott's gets rented out for the night, and we are able to enjoy the park with our classmates. The formal fun has already begun, however, with our winter rally 2 weeks ago that was themed Rio for our Rio formal dance. Across campus, students have said it has been their favorite and most funny rally they've watched, with performances from dance, cheer, song, ASD, and our rally games like blindfolded musical chairs. Another campus highlight was last week's Abundance of Battle of the Bay games. Our boys and girls basketball and our girls soccer teams all played CDM, and each game had an outstanding turnout with an enthusiastic crowd cheering on our sailors. The energy at these games is always so much fun and a great place to be at. We are so excited to continue the same energy into the rest of the year and see what it will bring us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And next we'll hear from Devani Bustos from Estancia.
Good afternoon, Superintendent Smith, President Wigan, Vice President Ursoilu, and other esteemed board members. Before I get into our topic of this evening, I want to mention the 2 highlights on campus to leave the spotlight on the information I've collected after speaking with a wide range of students from Estancia. First and foremost, we just had our opening of our brand new courtyard, which had begun construction last year, and many Estancia Eagles were eager for the construction to be done. We had a ribbon cutting with free pizza and games for all students to enjoy during our lunch last Friday. Another event I would like to mention that is coming up is our O Show, or the original show that is written and produced by our very own Estancia Production drama team. It will be held from January 30th to 31st, in which I invite all of you to attend. Now, onto the data I've collected from interviewing over 25 students from freshmen to seniors about what motivates them, what teachers can do better, and what decreases their motivation. Okay, so here is my notepad. And I talked to many students today. So for what motivates them, I noticed that it was a pattern of family and good careers, which ties in together because many of the students want to get good careers to support their families. And as for what teachers can be doing better is being more understanding, or having more interactive and hands-on assignments for students to participate in, as well as being more flexible and understanding the circumstances of the students at our school, especially because I know a variety or a large majority of the students at our school are low income, so they don't really have access to places where they can study quietly at home. I know a lot of my friends, they live with more than 5 family members at their houses, so there's not really a quiet place to be, and meeting deadlines isn't always the easiest. As demotivating, or what decreases motivation, kind of ties in with that, where students, they don't like homework. That's a big one that I got today. They just believe that they want more class time to finish assignments, which I believe would motivate them more. As well as school being too early. I don't know why that was a popular one. I think school being early. Yeah. But I wrote here that us as students understand it is good to create an independent study habits. However, doing assignments within the classroom creates a supportive and effective learning process with teachers with immediate feedback. As well as students, I believe that students will be more patient with teachers if teachers are more patient with students. That has to do with like the deadlines and creating a more equally enjoyable environment for both students and teachers. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. That was really informative. All right, next we have Harbor Council PTA report. Martha Floor.
Oh, that was a hard act to follow.
Yes.
Some of those names were really familiar. I think I shook their parents' hands at graduation, especially Coach Sinclair. I know his mom, and I know that family. So, good evening. My name is Martha Fleur. I am the president of the Harbor Council Council of PTAs. Good evening, President Wigan, trustees, Superintendent Smith, cabinet members, and community members. Happy New Year. Our PTAs are now completing their mid-year financial reviews. We have to do
what we call financial reviews, because auditors don't like us to call them audits, beginning the nominating process for next year's leadership, and finally identifying those PTA members, staff, and others deserving of the California PTA Honorary Service recognitions. Our current PTA members stands at 5,400, which is 90% of our goal. 24 of our schools are over 100, and the remaining units are within striking distance. At our meeting on January 13th, we had a presentation by Julie Fruman and Diana Llewellyn with Mothers Against Media Addiction. Dina is a parent of a Newport-Mesa student. Our council presidents were so appreciative of the information, and Harbor Council would like to partner with NMUSD and offer additional opportunities to inform our parents and community members about this ongoing concern. Our next advocacy forum on January 4th at 9 o'clock in the morning at Fountain Valley School District Boardroom will be discussing advocating in our schools, how to advocate in our schools. It will include information about how school board meetings are run, how to communicate with our parents and our community about education issues, and all PTA members are invited. Sacramento Safari is our 4th District's PTA annual 2-day advocacy trip to our state capital. It will occur on February 24th and 25th. Orange County PTA members get to hear from key speakers on issues that will affect children, youth, and families, learn about the inner workings of student government. In the past, we had members of the Newport-Mesa Unified School Board attend, and we would love to continue that presentation. Perhaps Dr. Smith or a member of your executive cabinet would like to attend. The more, the merrier. I would like to thank Dr. Smith for encouraging our presidents to ask him any questions. And that occurred on January 13th. Rosie was there to take notes, and Dr. Smith will answer them at our next meeting. The questions ranged from communication platforms for parents and PTA to an update on the 2024 Facilities Master Plan. To the Newport-Mesa Unified School District Board of Education, you have a daunting task ahead of you with interviewing and selecting by provisional appointment an appointed board member who will hold the office for the remainder of the term of Trustee Area 5, Michelle Bartow, until December of 2026. Harbor Council of PTAs is confident that you will select an individual to represent the students, families, and community members within Trustee Area 5 and the entire board. He, she, they will be committed to the vision, mission, and beliefs of Newport-Mesa Unified School District. Thank you and good luck.
Great, thank you. Item 13, CSEA, Emma McAllister.
Good evening, Superintendent Smith, school board trustees and members, and executive cabinet. CSEA Chapter 18 wants to thank Superintendent Dr. Smith, Assistant Superintendent Leona Olson, and School Board President Krista Wigan for attending our executive board installation ceremony on January 9. We were so happy to see you there. It was a very important time for us, so thank you. We sincerely appreciate each of you for taking the time for going there. The 2025 Classified School Employees of the Year are Kelly Davis, an administrative assistant at Back Bay High School, and Yesenia Rosales, a district lead instructional assistant for the extended day program. This recognition helps employees see that their contributions to the success of the students and the difference they are making in their lives are valued. We are very proud of them. Congratulations to the recipients. The CSEA Chapter 18 scholarship applications for current members in good standing or eligible dependents of members in good standing are open. This is a great opportunity to help offset the cost of continuing education for those currently attending or who will be attending a college, university, or trade school in the fall. So hopefully we have a lot of those applications. They're due on March 14, 2025 at 2 p.m. And that is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have NMFT President Rhonda Reed.
Good evening, President Wigan, trustees, Superintendent Dr. Smith, cabinet, and guests here tonight. Last week, 3 members from the district, NMFT and CSEA, joint benefits teams, went to the, and none of us can remember this, but it's the CPHCC conference. We just call it the health conference. We received some helpful information that we're excited to discuss about possibly adding to our repertoire of strategies to help our members maximize their health benefits, lower costs, and supporting healthy living. Today, our district's 3 2024-2025 Teachers of the Year received their applications for the Orange County Teacher of the Year application. These 3 were selected last year, but their reign is for this school year because the county is a year ahead, so they get to wear their crown this year. To remind you who they are, so there is Lindsay Missner from Newport Heights, there is Christine Cross from Ensign, and then there's Scott Tarnow from Newport Harbor High. I think they are all in President Wigan's area, so I hope you can put November 7th, 2025 on your calendar. They'll be celebrated at the Disneyland Hotel. So our educators are more than pleased that HR 82 passed January 5th, right before we came back from holiday. It's called the Social Security Fairness Act. And NMFT has been following this bill as CFT, our state union, and our retired union has been advocating for this bill to pass for a very long time. In my opinion, this law was very unfair. This bill reverses the law that punished those who worked in other careers prior to entering the noble profession of education. So if you had another career job, you paid into Social Security, you lost it. It wasn't a part of your retirement benefits. So we're more than delighted that this unfair practice in law has been reversed. And now any educator that's worked more than 10 years and paid into Social Security, it will become a part of their retirement benefits. So this will benefit not only educators, firemen, firewomen, law enforcement, a lot of other government professions. So we are so thankful for our NMFT retired union members who are so diligent and engaged in protecting and improving the retirement benefits for all our educators. Happy New Year.
Thank you. All right, now moving on to item 14, community input on non-agendized items. Trustee Murphy?
Yep. Alrighty, this is an opportunity for the public to address the board regarding items not on the regular meeting agenda. Comments on non-agenda topics are limited to 3 minutes per comment, up to 20 minutes per topic. A speaker may not relinquish his or her time to another person. By order of the Brown Act, Section 54954.2, the board will take no action nor have any discussion on non-agendized items. The superintendent may provide clarification during superintendent's comments.
All right, thank you. First up, we have Dinah Llewellyn. Thank you.
Should I shut this or just put it on top of it? I forgot my paper notes.
Whatever works for you. Yeah.
I just didn't want to cause a
There you
problem. Hello. Hi, everybody. My name is Dina Llewellyn. Good evening. It's so good to see all of you guys again. As was mentioned, I'm a Newport Harbor High mom, and I'm the founding member of the local chapter of Mothers Against Media Addiction, or MAMA, as we like to call it. I'm here tonight to give you guys an update on some of our work, which is all very fun and positive stuff. First of all, I have to tell you that it is my extreme honor to let you know that Today, our founding member, Julie Scelfo, sat with Jonathan Haidt at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, to address this extremely important global issue of screens and kids and safety. Our group spent November and December advocating on Capitol Hill for the passage of the Kids Online Safety Act, which was passed in the Senate 91-3 last year. It did not make it across the hurdle to the Congress, but we're going to keep fighting really hard because it protects kids, and that's what we all want. Quick update, you guys may or may not know this, but Senate Bill 976, California, our kids, Protecting Our Kids from Social Media Addiction Act, went into effect on 1/1/2005. And what that does is one thing that parents would be really excited about is it forces social media companies to stop notifications on school nights at a certain time. So kids' phones will shut down, and it also affects the addictive nature of algorithms. It has been put on pause, and it's up for further review, but we're going to keep fighting for that as well. The most important thing I think I need to tell you guys about is that I got to go to see the CDM pilot of the Yonder pouches, which are pouches that you put all media inside of, including smartwatches. Dr. Haley invited me to come and see it. And I will tell you, I think he left, but I actually cried because when was the last time you saw, I really almost might cry again, 40 to 50, however many, maybe 30, 40, whatever their group is, teens sitting together, talking, laughing. Boys are roughhousing, playing football, playing basketball. I mean, you just don't see teens in an area without phones ever. It was such a beautiful thing. And so I say it was like turning back the hands of time to our own, many of our own upbringing. Anyways, it was fantastic. I hope you guys get a chance to see it. And lastly, Martha mentioned that we got to present to the Harper Council this last week, and we're looking to partner with you guys for some parent education on social media and tech, healthy habits for tech. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Maurice Mandel, and I apologize if I butcher anyone's name.
Excuse me, I have to put my phone away now. Find my notes here, just one second. Good evening, Madam President, Superintendent Smith, and Ms. Murphy, the most important person up there tonight. I wanted to talk to you about two topics, okay? First topic I wanted to talk to you about was college, okay? We have a K-12 school district. It's basically college prep, okay? We have a lot of aspirations towards college in our district. We have district programs. We have special high schools. We have Title I to help those that are financially disadvantaged, okay? For a lot of the people who are very wealthy that are members in our district, it's not a problem. There are many, many programs for the disadvantaged. They have 4-year full boat scholarships that people that are disadvantaged can get. They have 5-year full boat scholarships. I have seen a student get both. Now, I don't know if that means he goes to college for 9 years, full boat or not, but I've seen it. Okay, there's federal funding, there's many other things. But there's a disenfranchised middle who pay taxes to support the schools. And there are programs that are out there, and in one in particular that I know of is called College-Wise. And College-Wise puts on programs over at Newport Beach Public Library, where Ian Parker of College-Wise goes and lectures about things like college funding. How do you pay for college? Things like that. These things are really important, particularly to this middle that doesn't have unlimited wealth to pay for any college and doesn't have access to a lot of the programs to help them finance their child's education. I've attended 3 years of meetings with Mr. Parker. I have yet to feel that he's tried to sell me anything. I know that the district won't allow him to conduct a meeting for parents because
His college-wise is a for-profit institution. I think this is a terrible travesty. He doesn't try to sell anything. He's extremely knowledgeable, okay? And the problem is, over at the library, you get 3 families. Whereas if the district would put on a program, I've seen rooms that were like they were full for the water polo team. The second thing I would like to talk about for a second is safety, okay? I'm so sorry to say that today we seem to be afraid to offend anybody, okay? We're afraid of accusations, and one of the problems that we have is electric bikes. You may have heard of them, okay? And in the 15 seconds I have left, I'll try to discuss it. I would suggest that you, as board members, should go down to Irvine and 17th Street at the time that Anson and Newport Harbor let out and see what the situation is for yourself before somebody gets killed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Nancy Warzer-Brady.
I'm putting my glasses on so I could see all of your faces. Good evening, President Weigand, distinguished board members, Superintendent Smith, and cabinet members. Good evening. My name is Nancy Warzer-Brady. I'm the Education and Community Engagement Director for Backhouse Dance. We're a nonprofit organization. We've been partnering with your district for over 2 decades. We're part of the Arts Teach roster, Segerstrom Center for the Arts. And in the last several years, we developed and presented to some of your elementary schools the Dance for Kindness residency. You've been very supportive of that. And also in the Dance Expressions program for secondary level students. This fall, we completed a residency. Maybe I've seen some of you at our performances at CDM, but we set working with the dance students at CDM, middle school, high school, and Newport Harbor and Back Bay Continuation High School around the theme of actually communication and the fact that students had to limit cell phone usage. In CDM, we choreographed and worked with the students, and they performed a piece called Daydream Repeat at their fall showcase, which was packed for 2 nights. But I'm here also to invite you to an upcoming performance at Costa Mesa High School on Thursday, January 30th. I'll leave these here. And we've been your partner. And for this performance, there will be students from Costa Mesa High School's Estancia School and Davis Magnet School will be walking over. Again, for this performance to engage students in learning more about dance as a career, as a CTE, a pathway. And we're very excited about this program, and it's something that the district is providing transportation, thanks to Tamara Fairbanks. So I hope to see some of you there, to see the engagement with the students. I wanted to talk with you about your support and your wonderful strategic arts plan, which is, I've been part of the Newport-Mesa Arts Commission for decades now. Does that make me old? But it's time to take it to the next level. With Prop 28 funds, many districts are adding a leadership administration part to it, and I think that this district needs to focus on equitable, inclusive, and accessible, making the arts more accessible for all of the students. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Alyssa Ochoa.
Good evening. I am Elisa Ochoa, a community leader with Create California, Arts Now, an arts commissioner for the city of Costa Mesa, and a Newport-Mesa parent. Advocating for the arts is my life's work, and it's a pleasure to be here again tonight. It's been a while since my last visit, and I'd like to share a few observations I've made since then. First, I'm really excited to see the initial phases of Prop 28 funding reaching our schools. Earlier this year, my fourth grader participated in a new 6-week dance program, which he 100% loved. He's even created a choreography inspired by his favorite dinner, spaghetti and meatballs. Witnessing the joy and creativity this program inspired him and his peers has been invaluable. And it's clear that Prop 28 is making a difference. And I'm confident future initiatives will continue to enrich our schools as well as enliven our home dinners. That said, my hope and that of many other parents is for these programs to be consistent, equitable, high quality, and lasting. 6 weeks is a fantastic start, but imagine the impact on our students if these programs were offered year-round. Second, I've noticed the neighboring districts such as Garden Grove, Anaheim, and Santa Ana have made significant investments in their arts leadership teams to support these programs. To keep at pace and unlock the full potential of Prop 28, I believe Newport-Mesa must take comparable strides. Finally, I want to highlight the outstanding work our district arts TOSA, Ms. Fairbanks, and our passionate arts educators are doing. Last May, I had the privilege of educating the senior showcase, and the caliber of student work blew me away. In September, Costa Mesa High students demonstrated painting and clay wheel throwing at Art Venture, enriching our city's signature art event and highlighting the importance of young artists in our community. According to my fourth grader, these events were Sigma, which I'm told is the highest form of praise you can get these days. With these strong foundations and the new strategic art plan in place, Newport-Mesa is well positioned to take the next step by strengthening its district arts leadership team. Right now, we're fortunate to have one incredible individual in this role, but imagine the transformative impact we could achieve as a team, like those of our neighboring districts. I am committed in supporting our collective efforts and look forward to your response. Thank you, Dr. Smith, members of the board, cabinet, for your time, service, and dedication.
Thank you. Next up, we have Gabrielle McLean.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle McLean, and this is the first time I've been here. And I want to tell you that I don't know what you do. I do know that I am really appreciative and I'm grateful for the results of what you do. I'm a parent. My son's a freshman at Newport Harbor. He started at Woodland. And I can say without exception, the experience has been beautiful and I think outstanding. Having said that, so I am a professional artist for the last 30 years. In 2015, I started a company called Heartfelt Play Studio just up the street from here. I focused until the pandemic, I focused almost exclusively on giving children a safe space to experiment and explore with materials with very little concern for the outcome. So I want to tell you tonight what I learned from that experience. The first thing is I learned about creativity slump. Creativity slump is something that happens to kids in 4th or 5th grade where they start to close in on themselves when they start to compare themselves to other students and how well they draw or how well they sing or how well they dance. Most kids don't recover. So I'm hoping that you'll consider really fortifying the arts programs in that age bracket. The second thing I want to say is that I'm recommending or I'm suggesting, I'm hoping that you take into consideration creating makers spaces in each school. And it's a space that's organized, but it's unstructured and it's staffed and kids can come in and they can create and they can foster that sense of curiosity without having their phones, without having to do homework. They're only allowed to play with what's in the space. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't even have to look like art supplies. But I think that what I've learned and what I've seen is that what kids come up with is kind of amazing. And so anyway, I'm just hoping you consider that when you're looking at how to spend some of these Prop 28 funds. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have superintendent comments.
Well, thanks to everybody for their comments tonight. Martha, I just want to clarify that the list you gave me was a page and a half long. I don't know that we can answer them in one meeting unless it's an all-day meeting, but we're certainly looking forward to scheduling over multiple meetings how to come and share some of those answers, solutions, ideas, and then get feedback from our parents. They're so important in this conversation about how to better serve their students. The media addiction, what I wrote down was Dr. Haley made you cry. So that's my quote for the evening. Thank you for visiting the school sites. We're equally impressed as we go and visit. And so you know, we're preparing a board presentation. The board decides what they hear and see and deliberate, but we'll put something in front of their consideration for the February meeting where we can talk about Yonder and how it's working and how might this look in other places in the district. And for the people that are looking like, Yonder, what? That's the pouch she was describing that kind of locks up the tech while students are in class and walking around, forcing them to interact face-to-face, et cetera. As it relates to the resources we provide our students who decide to go to college, who want to go to college, great opportunity to also thank this amazing community. We have folks throughout this community that help in that equation. Certainly there are scholarships, full boats, I think our speaker said. And we have other efforts that SOI provides, the Les Miller family provide, that really demonstrate how this community cares about helping their students realize their dreams. We partner with FAFSA and other groups to try to get these AI bots to help us better serve our families as they apply for financial aid. The college-wise I'm not familiar with. I'm unaware of any request, and so our commitment is we'll follow up secondary education myself and see what that's all about. The e-bikes is a conversation we have all the time. In fact, this board and all of them have cared about this and talked about this since I got here 3 years ago. They've even sat on community coalitions to talk about bike safety. We regularly meet with the city leadership around this issue. How do we work with the city to make our streets safer for those who commute on bicycles? We're seeing more and more, not fewer. We have programs on our campuses that help students certify in bike safety before they can get access to the campus with their bike. Right? So their parking pass, if you will, is based on their learning how to safely operate, enforcement of helmets, etc. So we're going to keep looking into those. With regard to Prop 28, I would just say thank you for all the efforts. The ideas, Dance for Kindness, what a great thing to dance for. I think you said Heartfelt Space, sounds like a great program. Really grateful for Tamara and her efforts and what that group has put together in the coalition. The Strategic Arts Plan, which was referenced, really excited to have the culmination of that be presented to the board earlier this year. Excited about where that's headed. And the commitment is we'll continue to get better at how we offer this. The good news is that this district has cared about the arts long before Austin Buettner had an idea to fund Prop 28. A commitment they've made in real terms in staffing positions and resources. The investments that this board has made in the arts exponentially exceed those that were given in Prop 28. That every student in this district for a long time has had access to elementary music is next level. It's something I can tell you because I've worked all around the state that other school districts can only dream of and can't even approach with the Prop 28 dollars they're getting now. So kudos to this board for prioritizing that. Kudos for all of you for doing your part. Prop 28 is a bit tricky in that this idea that the arts would be funded by the state mischaracterizes it significantly. The money that we get, especially at the elementary level, because it's on a per pupil basis and funded differently, secondary and elementary, doesn't even support one position at the school site in elementary, a little different at the secondary. So the team has had to get creative. How do we use resources that don't even amount to a person at the school site to provide additional resources per kind of your urging at every school site? And certainly folks have brought up, do we have to have an administrative position to do that? The sites are, the funding is site funding. So it's site funds. The site councils and the school sites decide how best to use those funds. What we get at the district level is only an administrative fee that wouldn't cover a position even close. And we certainly didn't want to take money away from the school sites to have the administrative position. That was our current thinking. And we believe that the folks doing the work, Tamara and others, are doing a great job of bringing this together. Again, we'll continue to look at that, and if the state increases how the funds are allocated or the amounts that are allocated, we'll look at that. I'm just grateful to work in a district where that is a commitment. It's been a long-standing commitment, and grateful to have a board like this to continue to push the envelope with how we expose our students to the arts. So I've said this before up here. My son only went to school because they have the arts. He's in his 4th year at the Chicago College of Performing Arts, and all he wants to do is be a professional artist and performer. Again, wouldn't have gone to school. I would have made him, of course, but wouldn't have cared to go to school if it wasn't for the arts. So I get it, and this district gets it. And that's pretty awesome for our community. So one more reason to be grateful for being here and for sending your children this way. Thank you for that.
All right, thank you. Number 17, achievement. We've got a report on student support, elementary counselors. Dr. Torres.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I want to welcome up Sarah Coley, our Administrative Director of Student Services, who's going to share some information about our elementary school counselor program. For those in the audience who may not remember or know, a couple years ago, we were only able to fund 11 elementary school counselors, and we shared those counselors amongst the district. And our board decided that this position was so critical to student wellness that we made the investment to have one elementary school counselor at every single elementary school. And tonight you're going to hear some highlights about this program from Sarah Coley.
All right. Thank you. Good evening, President Wygand, trustees, Dr. Smith, Executive Cabinet, and guests. I'm excited and honored to be able to share the extraordinary work that our elementary counselors are doing. So our purpose, as we know, is to create safe and respectful learning environments. That's what we come to work to do every single day. We know that all students are all of our students, and we want them to feel seen, heard, supported, and safe. We also know that within our collective beliefs, part of our why is the belonging. We want students to feel that they belong at our schools. We care about how they feel. And so within student services, I have the privilege of working with a team who comes to work every day to support not only our elementary counselors, but our entire site staff, our principals, our assistant principals, and so forth. And I really want to recognize Paula Litz, who is our coordinator of elementary student services, who provides tremendous support to our elementary counselors. She wanted to be here tonight, but unfortunately had a family commitment and wasn't able to make it. But she really has provided extraordinary support to this team. So here's our people. So this group, we have our 22 elementary counselors, as well as we have 4 behavior specialists and 5 social workers that make up our mental health team. On the left, you'll see our beginning of the school year. We did an activity to talk about our why, and then our mid-year PD over at Newport-L, because who doesn't love to go to the beach and do a little professional development? But really, it was a great time for us to come together and to collaborate. So you've seen this before. We have our infographic that talks about the work that our team does. We did make a few updates this year, specifically calling out the attendance support that this team provides, as well as updated our language, because our team, while they do play a critical role in providing support with our SSTs, they do a lot of work all around with MTSS. So they work to support our students, PBIS and restorative practices, parent education, multi-tiered systems of support, classroom support, collaboration, supporting our community partners, and they also support our unique populations. They do spend a lot of time with our students one-on-one, obviously with parent consent. We aren't going to be providing any support with our students and any sort of counseling without that consent. And they are not therapists, they're school counselors. So their support usually is about 6 to 8 weeks. They do continue to check in with students, but they're not providing therapy. So our highlights. Again, we've got a great group of folks who is doing this work. With your continued investment, we've been able to continue with our 22 counselors. We've grown from initially 11. So each school, every elementary school has their own. They're an integral member of our staff. So they support PBIS. They go to all of our school assemblies, help with bike safety, school events. They go to PTA events, DLAC, provide parent education, Tier 1 and Tier 2 behavior supports. They all were trained in CPI, except for 2, because they were pregnant and they couldn't do it. And so we were told no, but they will be once they get back from having their babies. But it was just, again, another way to support our team and to support the work that they're doing. They provide that attendance support and intervention, again, provide support through SSTs, and continued collaboration with parents and guardians. So to try to quantify their work, which I will say is hard to do because they do so much. But just this year, we've had over 400 counseling referrals. We've had almost 300 students receiving individual counseling, over 1,600 counseling sessions, multiple groups, lunch sessions, so structured activities and lunch to help kids have something to do, maybe instead of, an activity that they don't want to do or maybe causing a little bit of mischief. We have our classroom lessons. They support with risk screenings and threat assessments, restorative practices, again, providing parent presentations. They really play a really important part with attendance and then overall social emotional support. And this group of individuals, while they, do a lot of work with students one-on-one, they also help our principals in ways that we never honestly really expected. So in talking to just a few of our principals, she's amazing. She's a responsive individual. She's forward-thinking, and she's influential for students, consistently demonstrating a strong commitment to students, the social interactions and cooperative play. So it's not just about the number of counseling sessions that they do, but it's about the overall impact that they're having at our school sites. I freaking love her. And who wouldn't? Because she's amazing. I know who she's talking about. Her greatest strength is connecting with all students and giving them opportunities to engage. We have an incredibly talented and creative group of individuals. They create calm corners, a calm cove. They come up with ways to support students that are beyond our imagination. They're fostering a sense of community partnership, presence in the classroom, equipping kids with language that they didn't have before to talk about how they feel, which then in turn gives the teachers and the staff and the principals ways to communicate with kids that we didn't have before. So they're providing a support that, again, is beyond our imagination and what they can do for kids, and we're eternally grateful for the work that they do. So thank you for your support, because without you, we wouldn't have them, and without them, we wouldn't have campuses where kids are feeling safe and heard, and they feel like they can come and learn and be able to express themselves. So thank you.
Questions? Awesome. Questions? Well, I will start with something that I have observed. I appreciate this presentation. I also want to say I've observed the counselors on campus and their effectiveness. I have seen where this is from students where they so appreciate being able to just take a walk with the counselor. But also, one thing that I get a lot of questions at is that we're providing, why are we having counselors on campuses? And it's not to, benefit to have the counselor so they can, help the students with their emotional language, but also to provide them provide students an ability to open their minds and accept the education that we're providing. So unless we have students that are emotionally, happy and aware and just stable and there in class, they're not going to be able to receive the education that we're providing them. And so I've seen firsthand where there's students that have having a tough time in class, and they take a walk with the counselor and things are better. So I just want to say kudos to that. So it's been a great support. I do have a question and more of, can you provide an example of the co-taught classroom lessons? One thing that I hear a lot of is that we need more kindness on our on our campuses, and more, the students being accepting others, and just getting along. Anti-bullying and those types of things. So can you give us an example of what co-taught classroom lessons are, in classroom activities?
Absolutely. So we really feel strongly, obviously, when we're coming in as a support team, that we're walking into a classroom that's already a community. And so it was really important that they were co-taught with the teacher so that the teacher is a part of delivering that message. And we're really responsive to whatever the needs are of the teacher or maybe of the campus. So for example, if we've got maybe some unkind language, to your point, we'll go in and deliver a kindness lesson. We'll talk about respectful language. We'll talk about what does it look like to be a good friend. And so really it depends upon what the needs are of that campus. So it's not just like a packaged, everybody's getting this. It might be 6th grade is having a really hard time at playground and they're not using really kind words with each other. And so we're going to come in with the teachers and co-design these activities. Sometimes it could look like a restorative circle, which again, the teacher is a part of that community. And so they're going to be a part of the circle, part of engaging with the entire classroom, part of that lesson, because the teachers know their classrooms the best. And so they're going to be able to tell us, this is going to really resonate with my students or not. And so those would be kind of some of those examples. The same thing with building positive relationships, building positive friendships. If we're starting to see some of that like pre-bullying behavior where kids are starting to be, again, unkind or some of that harassing language, they'll come in and help to design that lesson and bring in some of those components that can really support students.
Thank you. And one more question before I pass it on. Are there mandatory lessons that each counselor has to provide to a class? So say each class will get, 10 lessons from the counselor a year or anything like that?
Not at this point. So none of it is required. It really is, we try to be as proactive. So if we start to see things bubble up, then we'll start to put some things in place. Or if there is like an incident, then we can respond that way. But there's nothing right now that's required that everybody must do. It really is, again, each school has its own special climate and culture. And so then we'll respond to those needs.
Okay, great. I have Trustee Ursoilu.
Great, thank you for the presentation. And similar to Trustee Wiegand's question, interested in just some examples of the 79 groups facilitated. What were they by topic? Were they by what are they for?
Sure. So they're typically like a social skills type of group. So maybe it's, there's we've run groups. I'm thinking specifically there was a group of boys who were having a hard time playing basketball together. And so we would do something like that. Or if we see that maybe there's some like kind of those lower level anxiety type of, stress induced type of responses and behaviors, then we would say, okay, we've got a group of 4. Maybe they don't need that individual one-on-one, counseling, but they would benefit from a group, some of those social skills, some of those types of behaviors. And all of those are only run with parent consent as well. So we're not running groups without parents being aware and saying yes, that it's okay for them to do it. But it really is sometimes more appropriate that it is like within that group setting. And so they'll put those groups together.
No, thank you. And I was going to ask if the parents need to consent for those groups.
Yes.
And the 362 restorative practices, can you give me like 5 examples of what is considered one of those
5
practices?
Okay. So
30 or just like a handful.
Sure. So there can be anything from, there's different tiers of restorative practices. So our tier 1 would be a community building. So one would be a community building circle. So going into the classroom. And a lot of times we do this at the beginning of the year, but they're great to do throughout the year, and just getting to know each other and building those relationships and really building a solid foundation. So it's not just coming into the classroom and getting to work, it's getting to know each other and common interests and those types of things. Then we can do like conflict mediation. That could be through a restorative practice. Again, we do those in collaboration with parents to say, maybe we had 2 kids who had a conflict, and so we're going to bring them together for a restorative circle, and we have certain questions that we're going to have them answer, and then they can go through and really kind of uncover what it is that brought them to that conflict versus it just being, stay away from each other. We really want to try to resolve what those conflicts would be. And those circles can be done, one-on-one with students, but then we've also done them in bigger groups. So like I was saying, if we're seeing kind of a conflict amongst friends or amongst a group of students, then that would be something else that they could do. But really, when we're talking about being restorative, it's trying to help find that accountability and to lean into that and to help the kids learn and to understand, but then also that relationship building. So having that's
And then when you run those circles, do those need parent consent?
We do get parent consent for those, so we're not running, especially when it's more of like a disciplinary type of things. There might be, we can have restorative practices happening just within the conversation that you're having with a student, and so that wouldn't necessarily be something that we would call to say we're going to have, I'm going to have a restorative conversation, but if we're facilitating it between two students, we would be notifying parents that we're going to do that. And we have had parents opt out. They're not comfortable with their students doing that, and then we wouldn't proceed.
That's what I'm curious about. How often, are you guys tracking, of those 362 that did happen, how many were offered that weren't allowed to happen because parents wouldn't consent?
We haven't been tracking that component of the data. It's certainly something that I can look into to see if we've been keeping track, and maybe something that we can keep track of as we move forward. But again, we're never going to put a student in that type of situation and then if their parent's not comfortable. And so if they're not, then we'll find alternative ways to work through that conflict with the students.
No, thank you. And last question, similar to that question about preemptive trainings, like a set number of a training on X, Y, and Z kindness for every grade, every year, at least twice, like the preemptive stuff. Those preemptive circles you're saying, just the positive community building circles, they don't have to happen, right? It's at whose discretion, the teacher or the counselor's discretion?
It's at the teacher's discretion, and so, on every campus it looks a little bit different, and so it's definitely not something that we're requiring anybody to do at this point, but is definitely effective, and the teachers who do it love it.
Do you know about, and again, not for today, but of all the elementary classrooms, what percent of teachers have had a restorative circle not even a restorative one, just a culture building one, the basic 101, happy back to school, we're having a big circle?
I can look into it. Yeah, and they call it different things too. It's morning meeting. It's, there's a lot of different, and so I would venture to say it's many, but we can certainly look into that.
Awesome, thank you.
Trustee Anderson?
Thank you. I initially only had a comment about I'm so thankful we have them now, but I do have one question. It got me thinking when you were talking about the things bubbling up, particularly since we have these folks on site and since we all like data. Are we using the EDI information, a lot of the social components to that, to target perhaps okay, this kindergarten classroom needs to work on verbally expressing themselves or sharing well? Have the counselors leaned into that at all?
Not yet, but I love the idea, and I think it's definitely something that we can look into doing more of, because right now it is really kind of, as we're getting to know each year, every class is a little bit different and they have their unique things about them, and so then we're trying to go in to work through that, but I think that's a great idea, something we can certainly look into.
Yeah, I think particularly for our early elementary kids, it would be great to have that as something that everyone knows, right? The parents in this class know we're all working on this skill together, so it doesn't single out a kid, but every class is unique, every school is unique, so I think that would be a really wonderful thing to lean into.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have a student board member, Devona Bustos.
Well, I didn't have a question, but I did want to pay compliment to you guys for starting the support so young, especially because when it gets to my age, kind of some respect is lost towards staff, and I think it's really important that you guys are implementing that on students, because when they get to my age, they have respect towards others, towards the staff, and towards themselves too. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
Great. Trustee Crane?
Yes. Are we also still instilling the ruler method and creating emotional scientists?
Our emotional scientists. So we have the ruler components that are available to teachers and to staff who've been trained previously. It's not something that we're doing a comprehensive push towards or providing any current professional development or anything like that, but they still have the tools that they had from previously. So some teachers are still using their mood meters and still using the meta moment, but it's not kind of a comprehensive push out and training that we're doing for folks right now.
Trustee Murphy?
That's interesting. That brought up actually another question, that response. But and I was just going to say thank you, of course, for this, for the presentation, for all the good work that you and your team are doing. But when you brought up circles, it just and the groups, it made me actually think: are the counselors working with the aides on campus and like the special needs kids and, you know, the special ed teachers, are they getting brought into any of this?
So it's not the counselors who are working. I mean, we're all working together as a team. And so certainly they would be working together and closely with their site team, but they're not like training that staff to do like circles and do that type of work in the classroom. But we do, as student services, work closely with special education to bring those types of strategies and things into the classrooms. And so counselors right now are typically supporting students without IEPs, but they do go into the classroom. So it could be any student in the classroom that would be a part of a circle, but more of that one-to-one support would be a student without an IEP. But in the classroom, certainly there's going to be a very diverse mix of students, and so they would be receiving those within the gen ed setting.
So if if the counselor was needing to work with a student with an IEP, so the counselor would not work with the student, or they would have their aide work with the student, or like then how does that?
So we'd be working closely with the school psychologist, who typically works more closely with the student with an IEP, and so if it was providing more of that one-to-one type of support. But general, like if it's, you know, working through a conflict situation or working in a classroom to do circles, or they're presenting one of those co-taught lessons, it would be available to all students.
Okay, and then yeah, I mean that's an interesting. I can just see all the overlap would be so great.
It does say that they do special.
Well, I don't have my.
It does have.
My glasses.
Well, and if I can interject, Trustee Murphy, I would also include that we would never exclude students due to that, to having an IEP. It's an inclusive practice with the collaboration with the classroom teacher, the school psychologist, the team that's on site, as well as the principal who may recommend or suggest that a particular individual be seen and have that connection with the school counselor. It's just some of our students with IEPs have specialized teams and already have those supports. So sometimes it's just we have to level up and be able to connect those dots for them. But since they already have a team, they operate a little bit differently.
Yep, and I guess what I was really thinking about, if I didn't clearly define what I was thinking about, sorry, I guess I was thinking back to Woodland when my son was at Woodland, and a couple of the teachers got together and with the principal and came up with like not an autism curriculum, but a way to share, you know, what is autism, you know, what happens, you know, when students are autistic, or what they might experience that is different from you, and like, you know, and what an aid is in the classroom and what that. So I just was thinking, so I guess when you were saying the groups, I was like, are there topics, and I guess that would include special ed that is part of what the counselors are doing? Is that still very separate, or it would be based on what the principal decided that the site needed?
Right. It would really be site dependent. And so we are too working towards everything being very inclusive and making sure that it's not so siloed, and that we really are crossing over and working together. And so we work really closely on that and making sure that, again, that we're making this support available to all students and that it's not so segregated out.
Yeah. Yes. Together.
Thanks.
All right, Trustee Ursulou. Sorry, last one. Something you said before about trainings that made me wonder. So these like preemptive culture building circles that can happen at a site, is that at the teacher's request, or the counselor, or the teacher asks the counselor if they can come in and help with one? Or do teachers ever do them alone?
Within the classroom community, the teacher would be a part of that. But there are times that, you know, maybe within the group or in other settings that the counselor would be facilitating the circle or maybe recommending that the circles are happening. And so the counselors have been trained. So they've been through the restorative practices training. And so they have that skill set, and not all of our teachers have gone through that training yet. It's available, but we're still working on getting people more trained up on it. And so the counselor could go in to help kind of co-facilitate, just because they've been through that training and help do that. But there are times that they do them alone. But when we're specifically within the classroom, we want to make sure that the teacher is a part of it because they're part of the community there.
And is there a plan for how to roll out the training so that every teacher could possibly do these preemptive ones? Because the restoring after the fact is great, but the idea ideally in the world would be to preempt and like have such a strong culture that people aren't going to mess with each other and bully each other over their brand new sneakers and all that garbage. So if our teachers were trained to do these circles weekly, monthly, preemptively, because I'm just imagining now that I'm saying it, like those counselors are going to run, they don't have time to do every classroom in the elementary school and do all their side work too, for like individual one-on-one work.
Right.
So is there a bigger plan, I guess, for how to get the teachers trained?
So we're integrating, sorry.
It's a long-standing best practice for elementary teachers to build that type of without all of this training. I mean, it's like in your teacher 101 training. It's as you get your credential coming into the classroom. It might not be called these things, but that is also like embedded in the PBIS and the creating the culture of expectations and how we treat one another. And like that is literally an integral part of classroom management is setting those expectations and building that relationship. So in elementary classrooms, it's not happening. It's not dependent on the counselor. That's like when they've done that, and that doesn't seem to be yet creating the culture that they want for the classroom. So I'm sure there's always ways we can do more in terms of all making sure all teachers feel they have the tools they need to create the classroom cultures they want, and that is required to be, strong, independent learners. But it isn't. They aren't waiting for a counselor to do that. But if they've encountered something that like doesn't seem to be melding or mixing, then they bring in reinforcements and try a different lesson from a different way with other language and other people in the classrooms. But that's kind of the first week of school. That's the first week when we come back from large breaks. That's part of kind of creating a functioning elementary classroom.
And it is really embedded in that PBIS work. And so since we're going through that really big, everybody's really focused on PBIS and really refining our work in that, it is really ingrained in that work naturally and the work that we're doing with belonging. And so to that point, an elementary counselor may come in if a teacher maybe feels like they need some support or maybe isn't as comfortable, but it really is a fundamental element of an elementary classroom to do that.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that it's a part of it, but it's just like given that post-pandemic, we've just seen so much more discipline issues. Maybe the typical teacher tools aren't enough. So what is the game plan to get them better and more tools to handle the bigger, more problems?
Right, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, well, thank you. That was great.
Thank you.
Very informative.
All right, now moving on to item 18, the consent calendar. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Crane, seconded by Trustee Ursulou. Roll call vote.
Trustee Wiegand?
Yes.
Trustee Soilu?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
All right, motion passes 6-0. Next, moving on to discussion action calendar. First one, 19A, accept financial audit reports for the 2023-2024 year. Mr. Trader.
It's my pleasure tonight to introduce Christy White with Christy White Incorporated. And I just want to let you know, just as a preface here, the audit function is really vital. It's vital to making sure we're compliant. And compliance is vast, it's complex, it's sometimes like Not Scary Farm. It really is important to the district to make sure we have a great audit function. And we do. We really feel really just so pleased to have Christy White as our auditor. We have a great relationship in that regard. The auditor reports directly to you, not to staff. And we always make sure that we provide the auditor with unfettered access to anything they want to see. And so with that, we're really pleased, and Christy is here to provide you with a presentation of the audit.
Thank you, Mr. Trader, and good evening. It's really a pleasure to be here again. It's our second year doing your audit, and I'm pleased to say that the audit went very smoothly and the results were very positive. So I'm just going to kind of focus on the highlights, but if you have any questions, let me know. The audit is so inclusive of different areas in the district. So, of course, the financials are kind of the heart of the audit. And these are your annual financials on a full accrual basis. So we also look at capital assets and your long-term debt. And it's kind of the only place where you'll find kind of the whole picture of your district financially presented. The financial statement audit has the best opinion on it, which is unmodified. So in our opinion, the financial statements are materially correct, and again, without any adjustments. So the numbers that you adopted and sent on to the county and the state, your unaudited actuals are what are included in here. There's also footnotes to the financial statements, which kind of go into more detail about different account balances, such as cash, accounts receivable, capital assets, long-term debt. And then moving into the compliance part of the audit, which is just as important. There's two parts to that. There's the federal audit as well, and then the state audit. So since you receive and spend more than $750,000, in fact, you spend millions of dollars that are federally funded, you're required to have an audit of these programs. And so there's kind of an audit guide that the federal government puts out for all these programs. And so we make a selection. It's kind of a risk-based selection to test these programs. You are a low-risk auditee, so that's the best. That means you have not had any exceptions in your audit for more than 2 years. And we had no non-compliance items to report. So good news on that. And then the last is always challenging, and that's state compliance, right? Because they're always coming up with new programs, new funding, which is good. Like you've talked a lot tonight about Prop 28 and the art, music, and library money. But along with the money comes strings attached that you have to spend it in a particular way, and then we're asked to audit that. So we did audit the Prop 28 money just as an example to make sure that you're supplementing, adding on the funds to expand the program over what you've done in the past, using the money in that way, and you were compliant. We also audit, of course, the attendance and instructional time, teacher credentialing, educator effectiveness grant is new this year, the after-school program. It goes really on and on. And so in doing all that, we found no instances of noncompliance. So that's very commendable. I can't say that to all of our clients, but I can certainly say that here tonight. So with that, we have no findings to report, and it was a clean audit. And I thank staff for their cooperation. Any questions?
Trustee Crane?
I'm just curious about the fact, in your firm, do you have a lot of clients that are locally funded, such as ours? And does it require a different eye than the other districts?
Right. Yes, we have quite a few. I mean, statewide, it's probably only about 10% of the state, but we do have school districts throughout California. I'm thinking, Marin County and LA, certain parts of LA, as well as San Diego. Really, we still have to test attendance accounting, so even though you're funded on your community dollars, but it's really more on the revenue side. So just, we recalculate how much your revenue is, make sure it's all been properly recorded.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Trustees? All right. Well, thank you so much. We're glad that we're in good standing and have a clean audit. So I appreciate all your work.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next. Oh, excuse me. I would like a motion to accept the financial audit report for the 2023-2024 year.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All right. Moved by Trustee Pearson, seconded by Trustee Anderson. Roll call vote.
Student Board Member Devani Bustos.
Yes.
Trustee Wigan.
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
All right, now we can move on to number 20, resolution adoption calendar. 20A, adopt resolution 09-01, or that would be the day. September 1st, 2025, resolution of the Board of Education of the Newport-Mesa Unified School District, County of Orange, California, findings pertaining to developer fees. Mr. Trader.
So this is a report, it's a compliance report associated with developer fees that the district collects. So whenever development happens, students are generated from that development, and as a result, developers are charged certain fees to be able to make those developments, and those funds come to the school to fund facilities for those students that are related to that development. And so with that tonight, you have a report that shows basically what we've spent and where we spent it, and we're just sunshining that process and where the funds are going.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's moved by Trustee Crane, was that? And seconded by Trustee Anderson. Oh, we have a question. Okay, should we vote and then question? Oh, no, sorry.
Discussion now.
Yes, let's go ahead. Trustee Anderson.
Thank you. I asked Jeff this earlier, but I think it's a good question to have raised. I asked when was the last time that these fees were changed or adjusted? Because to me, I noticed that the residential and the commercial are significantly different, and I know now there's a lot more building that's happening in commercial structures and turning them into residential. And so you had a great answer. If you would please share with us.
So we have what's called level 1 fees. That's the lowest fee level. And our fees have not been adjusted in over 30 years. And as a result, you'll see that the state for a level 1 fee would allow us to charge $5.17 for residential per square foot. And our fee is $1.84. And on the commercial side, the state would allow us to charge 84 cents per square foot. And we actually charge 30 cents per square foot. The commercial fee is kind of interesting. It's lower than the residential fee because the state seems to think that commercial doesn't draw in as many students as residential. And so the fee that they apply is higher on residential than commercial. However, the board has the discretion to charge less than the level 1 threshold.
Okay. And are we doing anything to learn more about that or to address it in the future?
Yes, so we're currently conducting a fee study, and we expect to bring that to the board for your consideration here very soon.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions? All right, roll call vote.
Trustee Wigan?
Yes.
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
All right, motion carries 6-0. 20B, approve resolution number 10-01. What was that?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Let's go back to 20B. Approve resolution number 10-01-25, authorizing the distribution of a request for proposal for the potential ground lease of district property Banning Ranch. Mr. Trader.
So what you have before you tonight is this resolution for a request for proposal. So back in September, the board established a surplus property committee. That committee made a report, and that report is on our website. And the committee recommended a priority list for Banning Ranch. And that priority would be a ground lease at the property's highest and best use value. And so as a result, you have an RFP in front of you that provides for a very open set of requirements, meaning it is very open in that doesn't prescribe what, how do you say, what developers should be providing you. So it's going to be one where they can come up with some really creative proposals that the board can then consider. And so we are recommending that the first day of publication be January 27th, 2025. And then with a final due date of March 14th, 2025, the RFP will be on our website, and we'll also push out to interested parties. And with that, then we submit this for your approval.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Trustee Pearson, seconded by Trustee Murphy. Discussion? Questions or comments? Seeing none, let's go to a roll call vote.
Trustee Weigand?
Yes?
Trustee Ursulou?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Pearson?
Yes.
Trustee Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Crane?
Yes.
All right. Now we've moved on to 21. Informal report, Superintendent.
I want to thank, even though they're probably not listening tonight or watching because, well, why would they be? I want to thank firefighters and first responders, folks from law enforcement that have been working so hard in areas around Southern California to battle the fires, but also protect property, life from all over the country, in fact. So thank you to all of them. I want to thank our students who are thinking about those in need. Many of the schools are working with groups like YMCA, Boys and Girls Clubs, et cetera, to collect donations that they can then support those in need. Thank you to the Harbor Council, the PTAs, other PTOs for their support of these efforts. We are working as a district with the Orange County Department of Education. All of our superintendents, in fact, have signed on to offer support for districts ravaged by the wildfires in coordinated and articulated ways based on what they need. So we look forward to doing that. I also want to thank our community members and our communities. I want to thank the City of Newport Beach. They've sponsored a welcome this weekend at the Oasis Senior Center from 9 to 11 to welcome families displaced by that horrible fire here in this amazing community. I got a message from the mayor of Costa Mesa as well, pledging his support to Newport Beach. How cool is that, that folks from both communities come together to say welcome to what I think is the best communities in all of California, but I'm biased. So thank you to them. I want to thank our staff. While we didn't have that unimaginable catastrophe here, certainly the first day was the historic winds in Southern California, and our support teams, our maintenance operations were all night monitoring the impact of those significant winds. Were there first thing in the morning. I want to thank our teachers and other support staff, classified staff, who kept kids indoors during those winds to make sure they weren't harmed by falling trees. We had branches down, we had wires down, we had roof tiles coming off, we had gutters, and not because we don't have great buildings, but because that's what happens when you have historic winds. And we prioritized student safety, and that required that folks pivoted and did things differently. So to our certificate and classified folks, our leadership on campus, thank you for doing that work. And then we were impacted by air quality that at times was in the red, which required us to be indoors. Again, people had to do PE inside. We had to serve food inside, and we had to change and do things differently to be cautious and protect the health, wellness, and safety of our students. So again, while it wasn't what folks have experienced in other places, I just want our team to know that I appreciate you and everything you did to keep our kids safe and secure while also continuing their education. Again, our doors were open every day, all day, for those events, even when power was not a guarantee. Our teams made it work. We learned that Davis cooks with gas, which is cool. I want to thank CSEA for inviting us to your installation. It was cute. They said, we want you to come, and we're going to kick you out. And I thought, well, yeah, that's pretty much every social gathering I go to. But just very, very grateful that you invited us. And this is what I wanted to share. The folks in that room really respect their e-board, their leadership, and what a compliment to everybody that was inducted or, sworn in that night. It's great to have that kind of support from your members, and it's because of the great leadership that you provide. So thank you for that.
All right, thank you. Board member reports. I'm going to start with Trustee Crane down there at the end and make our way this way.
Okay, well, I attended Back Bay High School's award ceremony a couple of days ago, was it last week? And it was so heartening to see so many kids being recognized from their attendance to their GPA. And Back Bay High School has come such a long way, because I remember when I first became a trustee and Dr. Bauermeister did his first award ceremony when he was principal, the kids didn't want to come down to the front and receive their award because they didn't think that they were worthy. And watching it last week, where 80% of them would come up and be proud, it was just amazing to see that improvement in pride in achievement. So kudos to the leadership at Back Bay, the teachers who are empowering our students every day. So that was really wonderful. And seeing the parents as well being there, supporting their kids, despite their challenges. So taking time off work, for example, to be there for their kid. So that was wonderful. And then very heartened by East Bluff Elementary PTA. They have this tradition where the families go with the kids and parents and grandparents show up to the OC food bank every MLK Day for a service day. And it's really cute. There's about 125 to 150 family members and students that showed up. And they boxed 460 boxes for the needy. And just watching the kids just really getting into it and, handling bags of rice and just putting them in boxes as they're supposed to and all that. So it's just really wonderful to see the bonding, but also the service-minded community that we're building at East Bluff Elementary. So that was wonderful. Then we went, there was a lot of Battle of the Bays. There was girls soccer, there was basketball, standing room only, giving out a little swag. Port Harbor versus Corona del Mar towel. So, leaving there with something in hand. The CDM student section received the Student Section of the Week award for the county. So that's really cool, because that shows that you can be there and be spirited, but also be mindful, respectful, and show good sportsmanship. So that was a nice honor to receive. Go CDM. Also attended the grand opening of Kings Cove at CDM, and that was kind of a passion project of one of the assistant principals there, and it's basically a wellness center. And again, it was a testament to the collaboration between private and public sector, nonprofit with public education and our school. It was a collaboration between Chalk and the Kravitz Foundation that donated the money in order to create the space, and through also with the collaboration of the Orange County Department of Ed. So there were more dignitaries there than I had ever seen at CDM. Assemblywoman Diane Dixon was in the house. She came to it and gave a proclamation. Robin Grant, our city councilwoman, was there, and then me and Lisa Pearson as well. But it was just wonderful, and of course Dr. Smith and I think Assistant Superintendent Torres. So it's just really nice to see all of us just coming together for mental wellness and establishing a safe space for kids to be. So that was wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Haley and team. And we have a big lift coming up with our vacancy for Area 5. Tonight's the deadline. And we have a special session next week for the interview process, which is all to be held in public, including our deliberations. So we're ready, right? Okay, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I was sick for most of the month of January, so I did not attend a lot of functions. But I was excited to see that Whittier had an amazing family math night, and it was entirely packed. So thank you for putting that on. I don't know. I think it was the first one of the year. And I just wanted to bring up our resolution for the ground lease for banning wrench. I'm really excited to see what comes forward from the RFP that we submitted. There's, I think, a variety of thoughts always around school district property, and we are really committed to not selling that property, but doing a ground lease, which means a variety of things could happen there. It could be buildings, it could be open spaces, and so we're excited to see what proposals we get and then be able to make great decisions around that. And so it's not every day that we get to make those decisions and have the opportunity. So I'm excited to see what comes from those proposals. That is it. I will keep it short and brief for January.
Well, I can keep it short and brief because Carol mentioned the things that I've been at. The Kings Cove at CDM was beautiful. I don't think she mentioned this actual space, 2 classrooms, just a great, wonderful space for our kids to be able to go, relax, recharge, go back to the classroom. So that was great to be at. Battle of the Bay, of course, was fantastic, especially when CDM wins. So that was fun for us to be at. Always fun to see the kids and the families, like she said, the standing room only. And I have to say, our administration, I noticed because I'm there. It was shoulder to shoulder in there, and our principals do such a great job. They were so positioned through that, they had everybody positioned from the balconies to, nothing was going to go wrong. So it was fantastic. The other thing that was very heartwarming, piggybacking on you, Wes, was being at the Zone Pack meeting this quarter, and that's when all of our zone gets together with the principals and the PTA presidents. And this particular one, which was a couple weeks ago, none of the principals were there. And it was heartwarming to find out why. They weren't there because there were still some wins going on. But more importantly, they were welcoming the new families from the fires. And it was such a great call. I think you said something around 9 families, 20 new students in the Newport area. And for them to be there to welcome these families, I thank the district for making that transition wonderfully, for keeping those principals back. It was fantastic, so thank you. And on our counselors, I didn't say anything. There are counselors, I'm elementary school, my 4 schools, they go beyond what that presentation was. I mean, every time I walk on campus and ask about the counselor, they're on me because they're wonderful, don't touch them. Everybody loves our counselors, and I know some of my schools even do peer leadership groups, like their after-school groups, beyond what that presentation was, and they're fantastic, so thank you for that, too.
Yes, I will piggyback again on Dr. Smith. I would like to thank Ms. Gonzalez and Ms. Marvin at Mesa for organizing a supply drive for the firefighters and for the LA families last week. It was really admirable to see the Mesa community come together and to bring together so many donations for the families. I will say, for the poor folks who are going through those donations, my son decided that he should donate his socks that he was wearing that day. So so apologies to whoever. It was a very special gift, and I apologize for ever had to find my son's socks. Hopefully they weren't too bad. We had a long conversation about what a true contribution really means. And then just wanted to shout out to Mesa. We have a production coming up. We have a production coming up this week. It's 12 Angry Jurors and Other Trials. Oh. It's going to be fun. I also had fun with my son over the holiday watching 12 Angry Men, which actually is a really good movie. I had no idea. It's a great movie. So there will be other trials that are bits and pieces of other trials that will be shown besides just 12 Angry Jurors, and that is Thursday, Friday, and 2 shows on Saturday. So hopefully, if you have nothing to do this weekend, the corner there at Mesa's on a Friday night is always very exciting. So I hope you all, if you have nothing else planned, will stop by Mesa and watch the show.
Awesome. And I just want to thank all of our staff that acted so quickly on moving physical activity indoors and doing our rainy day protocols. This is why we have rainy day protocols, when the air quality or the rain or whatever outside keeps us from being able to physically, do physical activity safely. So as your token asthmatic up here, I would just like everyone to know that the air quality was horrid and I was stuck in my house. So if we can all acknowledge that 10% of our kiddos in our district, 10% of kids have asthma. So those days were hard enough for them to get to school. So the thought that some people were feeling very entitled, like everyone should do PE outside those days, it's just not possible. Let's look out for our most vulnerable and make sure that they can go to school. And doing PE inside is not going to hurt anybody. How many of you have expensive gym memberships? Most of us are doing that all the time. So thank you so much to staff for paying attention to that and taking care of that, because it's necessary to make sure that all of our kids can get a good education and show up to school, even if it seems inconvenient, some of the activity changes for folks.
All right, well, thank you guys for all the updates. Over the past couple weeks, I attended actually one of the best children's performances I've ever seen at Newport Heights. They did Moana, and they hired the Braver players, and they've been hiring the Braver players for forever. And it was honestly the most heartwarming and wonderful presentation I have ever seen. I've sat through a lot of children's performances, and they were great. I mean, I was shocked to see how well they could sing, but how well that there was never a missed line or trip or fall or anything. And then there was a parent there that has done and managed this play for 9 years named Kelly Waite, and I wanted to give her a shout out because she is just so phenomenal that she still did this play and managed this play even when she didn't have children at Newport Heights. So that was just wonderful. And then they had it at Newport Harbor at their theater there. And I just want to say thank you to Jeff Trader and our team that the sound there is just phenomenal now that I have all new AV equipment. And it's great. So thank you for all that work that happened last year. I did also attend the CSEA board member installation. That was wonderful. Thank you for including us. It was great to see how many members you had that were just so proud to be there. And thank you again for inviting us. Another thing that I have coming up is I am also on the Coastline ROP board. We have a board meeting this Thursday, and we are talking a lot about the sections for next year. So more to come. I know we had someone that came and talked about, our career readiness, our college readiness, but we always need to make sure that we focus on career readiness because not everyone's going to go to college and we don't expect them to. So would love to have a presentation in the next year or so about Coastline ROP, and we can bring in the superintendent there and just talk a little bit more about all of our opportunities. And one other thing is we do have these quarterly meetings with the cities. This week we have a city liaison meeting with the city of Costa Mesa where we talk to them about, all of the joint use agreements we might have, but also issues that we have with traffic, construction, anything that is jointly affects our school district and the people in the community. So more to report out on that. And with that, 1 minute over our last meeting that we ended, but let's end the meeting at 7:56. All right.